Hello. I decided to try a home recording of uh, my Suite Bartokienne for four guitars. In fact, I won't be able to play the four guitars, but uh, following the suggestion of my friend Jack Houlihan, I will try to give some hints, some advices concerning the suite, and of course to say something about Bartok. I won't tell you, let's say, an extensive introduction, but I will try to say some things which are important, in my opinion, when it's about Bartok's music. In fact, the suite is written in the style of Bartok, and it reveals the roots which we can find in Bartok's compositions. In fact, maybe few musicians or few musicologists are, let's say, aware about the fact that Bartok was born in Romania, lived here for many years, and even after he went to Hungary and followed his career, he continued to come back in Romania and also to collect a lot of Romanian folk music, especially carols, but not only, dances, songs, and texts which are very interesting because everything it reveals a vivid folk music. And in fact, one of the things which I want to mention is that the first time when he started to collect Romanian folk music, he was writing down some hundreds of songs and dances, and he was noting only the notes which he thought are important. And later on, he reconsidered his strategy, and he also included some, everything which is which was kept in the interpretation of people, appoggiaturas, all these ornaments which are often encountered in traditional performance, let's say. So let's close this idea and say something about Bartok's music, which is deeply rooted in the Romanian folk music. Not entirely, because we all know that Bartok is one of the fathers of the contemporary music, one of the most important composers along Stravinsky, Enescu, and others, Messiaen, in the 20th century. What we know about Bartok, and it's obvious, is that he was using a language of synthesis. Not entirely modal, as we know that most of his music reveals it. Not only modern, using his system, using major minor chord, which is specific for his system. Actually, he invented this system, which is a kind of, let's say, another kind of tonal system, non-gravitational tonal system. And he actually using this synthesis in his language. He incorporated in most of his music. Concerning this, let's say, aspect in his language, we can easily depict most of the, let's say, modal suggestions, rhythms, also some melodic features, melodic lines, dance-like, song-like, carol-like, I would say, from the Romanian music. Actually, this idea with changing so often the time signature comes from the Romanian carols. I mean, we can start in 3/8, then suddenly in 2/4, and then 5/8, 7/8, and we can alternate in many ways till the end of the piece. Actually, the carols are not Romanian carols are not so developed. We can talk about carols having 8 bars, 10 bars or less. The texts are extended. I mean, we can have a carol belonging for, blasting for 8 to 10 minutes due to the text, so many repetitions. So let's follow the idea about Bartok's music and Romanian modalism. There are some dances here in my Suite Bartokienne which are, let's say, inspired in action by the 6 dances, the very well-known 6 dances for violin and piano. It also exists the piano version and many other versions with orchestra, chamber music, and so on. And in some of these dances I try to follow his ideas, but include my music and write it as I think it should sound in his style. Most of his, let's say, harmonic world, the contrapuntal intentions are, let's say, on the modal field, and that's why he kept always the traditional way of writing, arranging, and also keeping these, let's say, this trait in his compositions. I did the same thing. Actually, I would say that my language is more than 90% modal, and now I think it's time. I can see that I already used more than 8 minutes making introduction. I promise that it won't be so extended, so now I try to say something about my Suite Bartokienne. So the first movement, which is has also the title In the Morning, it uses only 2 chords, and it's basically a chacona. Actually, those 2 harmonic blocks never changes till the end, so everything which is above the melodic lines, the second guitar also joins with the second melodic line, the first one, which is having the leading voice, are like variations. So it's kind of a melody which is of course repeated a bit later, but the melodic line is practically following an improvised form. So in the beginning it's very important to establish a rhythmical pulse and to keep it like that would be the idea. Pum 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 pum. Never lose this pulse. And then when the melodic line it comes, it should follow the same. I mean, play it with fantasy. Never think that you have to play it straight, but always keep an eye behind and stay with the pulse, because the Romanian music, also keeping the traditional roots, it's very rhythmical, like all the traditional music. So what I would like to say in few words about this first movement is to never lose the pulse, and also to have as much fantasy as you want to develop on the melodic line, and also to establish a good communication between yourselves. Now I would like to say something about the second movement, which is in 6/8. The rhythmic draw is very familiar for the Romanian carols, and also for the music from Maramuresh, which is in the northwest of Romania. Bartok also was close to this area. So here it is a very balanced rhythmic draw, like see? Actually, the accent in the first group of 3/8 goes on the second beat. Ta 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 ta. It is also used for lullabies, and also for dance music. Also in other means, but this rhythm is very specific for the Romanian music from north west of the country, where actually it was kept for generations in the traditional way. Unfortunately, in many other regions, even including my own, in Muntenia, close to Bucharest, the traditional form was it was lost because the people's life changed, and they incorporated most of the tonal music intentions. So that's why the traditional music was not followed anymore on the right way. So about the second movement, I would say also a few words. It is always a good idea to hear the melodic line a bit above the harmonic and contrapuntal suggestions. In some of the repetitions, I doubled the melodic line one octave below, and in some repetitions I used the heterophonic way to actually write a melody like the melodic line, but not entirely. So it has to sound like a harmonic block, which is very mobile, but always keep it balanced. Ta 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 ta. It's kind of Romanian blues. Okay, so I have my score here on PDF, and I will go now on the third movement. Third movement, ta 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 ta. Here it changes after 2 bar Actually, it's alternating with the 7/8. Ta 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 ta. Actually, the real tempo is a bit faster than that, but in the beginning it's always a good idea to start it slowly. And I know, and I feel sorry for writing this in the higher frets. Actually, it's not so complicated. I've seen so many complicated melodic lines. This you can practice it, and you will have it as soon as possible. But keep in mind, always try to give yourself time in order to play it as rhythmic as possible, because it is important to keep this let's say straight pulse, ta 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 ta. Never lose that. See, like you can also use an arpeggio, a broken chord here. See, to start, it's a good idea to finger like that. But actually, you can use whatever you like in the fingering. As you all know, in the chamber music, we give no fingering, because it's up to you to use whatever you think it's appropriate for you. So it's, in my opinion, I would start like ta 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 ta, and keep that. And also keep also in mind that harmonic or contrapuntal let's say lines and blocks should follow this line and create the whole thing, a whole structure. So never lose that ta 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 ta. The first note in the 7/8, each 7/8 bar, the last note actually, it's like a little rest there, ta 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 ta, before heading to a new bar, which is it changes and comes to the 2 beats bar. So try to keep this pulse and to make it enjoyable. Ta 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 tam ta 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 tam ta 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 ta. Actually, it looks like this group of 3 bars, which is replicated during the movement. It is like let's say an engine, never stopping, but also having its pulse. About the 4th movement, I didn't mention the titles, but you'll I'm sure you'll notice it. It's quite a slow movement. It looks like another Bartok's dance, Buchumana, and it's ta 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 ti tam. See, always like that. See. Always keep this piano. I would like to mention that here in the south west of Romania, where I'm residing now, I'm using one of my student guitar, which is quite damaged. I can't show you that the nut here it's going to move forward, so it's an old guitar, but it's better than nothing, so we have to take the good side of the things. But it's helpful because it allows me to give an example or something like that. I think you'll understand that. I don't have my concert guitar with me, it's at Bucharest, but in less than 2 weeks I will have it in my hands. I can't wait for that. So concerning the 4th movement, when it comes for the theme, So always, as I mentioned in the first movement, play it with fantasy, enjoy it, but also having the look at the pulse. Never lose the pulse. Never lose the pulse, because it's important to stay together. Tam, tam, ta, 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 tam, ta, 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 ti, ti, ting. It's kind of wedding music, kind of enjoyable music in little bands we call taraf in Romania. Ta, 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 tam, ta, 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 ta. Quite a nostalgic music. It reveals so many feelings, and you feel free in doing that. See, ta 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 tam ta tam tam ta ti ti tim. You have to be charmed by the music, and you can build it together. You can create it together. So, ti ta. Always enjoy it, and never lose that that feeling. Now the fifth movement is a dance-like also movement, bit faster. Ta 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 tam tam ta tam. But it also has an inspiration on Bartok's six dances. Directly uses the suggestions from the second dance, Brule. Ta 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 tam tam ta tam. It's fast. Also practice it slow in the beginning to always keep this rhythmic pattern. So ta 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 ta. Always, see. First like this, but then you have to came close to the real tempo. It is very important to stay rhythmic, because that's the dance-like movement which I intended to write here. And the harmonic blocks, also try not to make it louder than the melodic tam pam 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 ta 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 tam tam. See, you can recognize some of the Bartok's even modern music like this. You have to, let's say, to make this music rest on this bass note, which is practically opening each bar, and then the chords which are practically also helping the melodic line to rest on and to have its mobility. Pam 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 ta 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 tam tam ta tam. You have to play it with a bit more character here, like being proud. See, having this feature when you create this music. See, ta 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 tam pam pam ti ti ta 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 ta. See, never lose this one. Actually, one of the advices which I think it's important here, and in many of my works, for me the tempo, even if I indicate it with 145 here, the quarter, it's not the most important thing. For me, like Leopold Mozart, the father of great Mozart, said, the tempo is something like something to be like to establish something around an intention. I mean, I'm not let's say dying to see this tempo followed. You can play it even at 120 or whatever you like, but to still keep this music dance-like in performance. Ta 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 tam pam pa pam. Never lose that. If you want to play it faster, I have no nothing against, but also don't forget to follow this rhythmic draw here. And now, not to have let's say too much talk about what you do or never do. Actually, you always should feel free in the performance, because the music it's live form. So like this form which is here with me, my Shih Tzu, our Shih Tzu actually, called Bruno, who's sleeping. So I didn't bother Bruno. As you can see, my music never touches Bruno. So we cannot be on everyone's taste. So let's get back to the sixth movement. I hope my English is still not so dusty, because I never had the chance during the last months, maybe years, to talk directly like that. When you write a message, you can rephrase it as many ways as you want, but when you speak, you have to follow your ideas, and I try not to think in Romanian, but to think directly in English, and still to keep my accent, which I hope it's not so Eastern European accent. I hope you'll understand. If not, I will make another recording, but hopefully not. Now, about the last movement, the sixth one, never-ending dance, that's a good idea. Because here in Romania, actually we have this form. I won't try to scare you, but at the weddings, in the traditional regions, areas, villages, actually the fiddlers, the traditional musicians, are playing several hours, sometimes 2-3 days. Of course, not continuously, but with little breaks, and they are able to play this music, dance like, song like music for hours and hours and hours and hours. So imagine them keeping the enthusiasm, and don't think that they are becoming rich playing 2-3 days. I mean, the amount is established month or maybe a year before. Of course, they will get some tips, but also don't think that they could buy a Ferrari about the wedding. Also, if you want to have some, let's say, examples of traditional music playing by some very talented and extremely inspired musician, try to look on YouTube on Taraf the Haiduks. They are not anymore in this band. I mean, 10 or 12 people like they were in the 90s or in the beginning of the 2000, but they were very appreciated by Johnny Depp. Actually, they played in US during the 90s. They actually appeared in some movies with Johnny Depp, and they won some prize like that. They are gypsies here, and they are very talented, because they are not playing gypsy music but the Romanian traditional music. That's why they are very well known, and they are so natural, and you will find some old videos, quite decent, some of it, to get some inspiration about what the Romanian music actually looks like. Actually, it's not, let's say, 100% Romanian music. I mean, no music here from Europe is 100% Hungarian, Polish, German. We all have also the influences of the neighbors. Of course, not such a big influence, but incorporated in our music. That's why when you listen to Hungarian music, sometimes it looks Romanian and backward. Bulgarian music also has exact rhythms. We also have it, but not so, let's say, abundantly used like they are having in their music. So there's much to say about that. I won't, let's say, I won't say much about this aspect. Maybe on another recording and perhaps for another work. So here, coming back to this final dance, it's also inspired from Bartok's suite of 6 dances. Tam ta ta tam ta 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 tam 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 tam. This dance, it's called Morunțelul, and also it's a very rhythmic, let's say, it has a very rhythmic structure. Tam ta ta tam ta ta tam ta ta tam tam. See? I played it a bit slower, but it's not so fast. It's not that fast as we can imagine. Also, keep in mind what I said before about the tempo. It's not something to follow 100%, but to be there to still have a dance music. Also, here the music, I mean the other guitars are offering the harmonic structures here. This is a more harmonic, let's say, dance, which is actually meant to end this suite, and it has more. It's a bit heavier than the others because it has to be more impressive. I mean, the final dance, which is practically ending the suite and has more power, more energy than we had before. That